A lot of electricians think fire alarm is easy. They say things like, it's just another circuit, it's low voltage, I can handle it. They get their first fire alarm install, they power it up, the system overloads with so much trouble, then they realize something at that very moment. That fire alarm is a completely different world. I've seen electrical contractors, electricians with over 20 years experience struggle with fire alarm, not because they didn't have the skill or the skilled trade to become a better fire alarm technician, it's because the mindset of a fire alarm technician is different from electricians. Today, we're gonna break that down and why that happens and what you need as an electrician to succeed in the fire alarm industry. So let's get it. Now, in this first segment, we're going to talk about how electrical thinking versus life safety thinking are two completely different things. Electricians are trained to think about power distribution. They mainly focus on the voltage, the load capacity, the conduit runs, the circuit breakers, the panels that fit the circuit breakers, the lighting, and all these different things that come with lighting up a building. As a fire alarm technician, our thought patterns operate under a different philosophy. A fire alarm system is a life safety communication system. The system is not just delivering power, it's monitoring the wire, the circuitry, output activations, the functionality on a consistent basis. Every day, 24/7, the system is checking, hey, are you there? Yes, I'm there, each and every day. So it's constantly reporting, and electricians are not used to systems that actually self-maintain themselves. So the first challenge I have for you, Mr. Electrician, is your mindset shift. Now let's move over to segment 2. And this is where we're going to talk about the code and the complexity of knowing the National Fire Alarm Codes. Most electricians work with just NEC 70. That's the National Electrical Code number 70. That is specifically for all wiring, conduit fills, power distribution, pretty much any and everything associated with what electrician would have to do. Now, when it comes to fire alarm systems require a lot more detailed codes. In addition to National Electrical Code 70 or NEC 70, we need NFPA 72. We need NFPA 101, which is the life safety. We need the International Building Codes. However, it is heavy on NFPA 72. This is where you would get your system design, your device placement, your test and inspection. You will get all of the information on how to put a fire alarm system, submit the fire alarm system, all out of these code books, more importantly, the NFPA 72. So a lot of electricians may underestimate how code driven the fire alarm industry actually is. In a perfect world where you have a perfect install fire alarm system, however, some devices may not be installed to code and you still can fail inspection. No matter how neat and clean your panel is, if your devices are not installed properly, you will fail inspection. And that may surprise many electricians when they first start doing fire alarm. Don't blame yourself. You don't know what you don't know. So that's why you need to make sure you partner up with a fire alarm company or an expert in fire alarm, some type of consultant, somebody who can actually steer you in the right direction. Usually, most importantly, it's going to be a fire alarm company that you will want to partner with so they can show you how to actually install the fire alarm system. I just wanted to interrupt real quick and we'll get back to the video. I just wanted to give a shout out to all my subscribers. This right here is surreal. I really did not expect people to be engaging with what I'm trying to do on social media. And I just want to give you guys a shout out. And I want to let you know that it's only 11, but that's fine because you 11 guys is going to get a free copy of my book, the Pocket Edition. I'm going to give each and every one of you a free copy of this book. And what I will actually do to extend that, the first 100 signees that will sign up as a subscriber will also get a free copy of the Pocket Edition book that I will personally fill out, drop in the mail, and send it to you. So the only way that you'll actually get it is actually by subscribing, sending me an email to info@securedsecurities.com so that way I can get your shipping information and I can send this right out to you. All right, so let me start from the top. We got Francisco Osario. Francisco Osario, appreciate you, bro. Thank you, I appreciate you. The next one we have is Jan Santella, 8396. Thank you, Jan. Then we have Jim Miller, 9060. Thank you, Jim. Then we have Joel Fernandez, M3L. Appreciate you, Joel. Then we have 224 Pat. Good looking, 224 Pat. Then we have Cameras 213. Thank you, Cameras 213. Then we have Charles Worrell 5946. Appreciate you, Charles. Then we have Cool Keith 5585. Appreciate you, Cool Keith. Then we have Anthony Merrick 77. We got the same name. Appreciate you, Anthony. Then we have Mr. Sock 4. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for signing up for the membership. And remember, the first 100 is going to get a free copy of my book. Now let's get back to the video. Now this takes me to segment number 3, and that's troubleshooting, and how troubleshooting is a totally different skill that you need to have in fire alarm. Electrical troubleshooting usually focus on power laws. So they're searching for breakers that may be tripped, identifying series circuits using continuity testers, making sure either the outlets or the lights are wired up correctly. So what they're trying to do is restore the power if there's some type of power outage in a building or in a section of a building. Now, when it comes to fire alarm, it is way more diagnostics. You get troubles like ground faults, opens, shorts, resistor laws, so many different types of troubles. When it comes to hardware versus software, you have to put on different types of hats when you're working on a fire alarm system. Sometimes as a technician, you may find the wiring is perfect, the device is perfect. However, there may be something internally inside the software, may be a bug in the system. It may be whatever the case is. We have the capacity to break down these problems into small little details so that way we can find what the actual issue is and fix it. So understand there's a combination of hardware issues that you may face on the fire alarm system and also software issues that you may face on the fire alarm systems. Now, in these combination of issues may be unfamiliar territory for most electricians. Now let's move into segment 4 when we talk about fire alarm programming. Modern fire alarm systems are software driven, and you have to actually program it to tell it what to do. There are some systems that have an auto program feature. However, the message may not be attached to what these devices do. So a smoke detector may know to activate a relay. If there's a relay to shut down a fan, it may know to do that, but you may not know what that smoke detector is. So understanding how to add the labels, whatever system you're on, Edwards, Simplex, whatever programming manufacturer you're working with, you need to understand how to add the labels and how to add whatever the addresses are. And if you're writing rules, if you're writing custom controls, or if you just correlating inputs to outputs, whatever your programming manufacturer requires to program the system to make the inputs talk with the outputs, your job is to know what that is. And as a fire alarm technician, we sometimes automatically know that based on what the NFPA codes are. So the codes dictate really how the fire alarm system should actually operate. So you need to also know what type of doors you're actually controlling, not just any doors you want to be able to control. So an electrician may not know these little details or nuances when it comes to installing a fire alarm system. They often know the wiring well, but the learning curve definitely will come when you're actually programming a fire alarm system. You need to understand the inputs and outputs, the functionality, and actually how to do it with whatever system that you're working on. A lot of them, most of them, you actually have to write out what you need to write out and have the proper syntax. Some of them you drag and drop. Some of them you just put a little bit of information, then it could build it out for you. So depending on the type of system, you have to know the operation and actually how to program the inputs versus the outputs. They usually spec out those types of systems when it comes to actually bidding on a lot of these projects. So if you're not backed by a manufacturer, you don't get the competitive pricing, you can't get the training, so you can't get the key that most of these companies have to actually put it in your computer so you can program the system. You have a lot of things that will unlock for you as a fire alarm or even electrical company when you partner with a fire alarm manufacturer. So if you want to take your skills to the next level, especially when it comes to passing your NICET exam 1, 2, 3, and 4, make sure you join our school community. We'll have over 130 videos, cheat sheets, tests, anything that you need to pass all levels of NICET. And when I say 130 videos, that is not total. That is 130 videos per level of certification. Okay, so join the school community. Link is in the description. Now, in this next segment number 5, we're going to be talking about the inspection pressure. An electrical inspection is really focused on the installation, the quality, and if the lights work, you have your spacing correctly. There are some rules and codes and standards that you need to follow as an electrician when you're installing outlets and lights and things like that. So yes, they are looking for these particular things, but in a fire alarm system, there are a lot more moving parts that they're looking for. We're looking for how these devices, smoke detectors in reference that I'm talking about, how it respond in the environment. And when the environment is too intrusive, or if there's a fire, smoke, too much, whatever debris that gets into that chamber and that automatic device go off, what's gonna happen in the back end? Now, if you have a purge system, some inspectors may want to see you fill up the whole room with smoke. They want to see the smoke detector go off. They want to hear the fan shut down, and then they want to see the purge sequence, whatever sequence that you have for that particular area. They want to see you perform that. They want to see those exhaust fans turn on, and they want to see the smoke leave that room. I remember when I did the changeover at Madison Square Garden, where this is when I was working at Simplex, and that was the first time I actually witnessed an actual smoke purge system in action. So what they did was, on the level where they play basketball, do all the events and whatnot, they filled that whole area up with smoke, that entire area. So if you're familiar with the garden, you know how big that area is. They turned on the exhaust fans, which was some millions of something per, it was pulling out air at some million per square feet. I don't know what the calculations was, but it was a lot. And I seen it clear out that room in less than 5 seconds. I've never seen a smoke purge system that performed like that. So the fire inspector is going to want to see the performance of your fire alarm system, and you have to be able to know what are all of these little details and nuances that happen within a fire alarm system. And the last most important thing is testing every device to central station. You don't normally test every outlet, test every light, test every switch, not necessarily. What we have to do on a fire alarm system, if it's 1 to 1,000 devices, each one of those particular points need to be registered at the central station. It needs to be verified, and each one needs to verify the output operation for each and every particular device that you're testing on a fire alarm system. So it can get very engaging. It's a lot, it's overwhelming. It's a lot that you have to know. It's a lot that you have to do, but it becomes second nature. It becomes part of your life once you actually get going with being a fire alarm technician. Now, in segment number 6, I want to talk about how electricians will actually be better fire alarm technicians than real fire alarm technicians. Here's the part that most people miss. They already understand the project, how to run the project, how to install the conduit, how to read the drawings, how to read the prints. All they have to do is get the technical aspect of it and then combine those two together, and you will be an elite electrical fire alarm technician. So the key is respecting the learning curve. Fire alarm system is not just low voltage. It's a life safety engineering skill that you need to have each and every day. So if you're an electrician trying to get into fire alarm, understand this: you're not just starting from zero. You're entering a specialized trade that requires additional knowledge, training, and experience. So once you understand the system, the codes, and programming, fire alarm can be one of the most profitable specialties in the construction industry. And that's the reason why so many electricians move or actually incorporate fire alarm into their existing business. So if you're a technician or electrician trying to learn more about fire alarm, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're an electrician who's actually want to incorporate fire alarm into their business, join the Fire Alarm Business Blueprint. I'm the fire alarm expert. I'm out. Peace.